Hello from World University and School on Monday, November 17th, 2025 at 10 a.m. Pacific time. World University and School, WUAS, is like Wikipedia in about 342 languages, active languages in Wikidata, Wikibase, Wikipedia, with MIT OpenCourseWare, Creative Commons 4 licensed in about 7 languages. And World University and School seeks to grow in all 200 countries as major online research world-class universities. And in all of their 7,159 known living languages for free online degrees, bachelor, PhD, law, medicine, IB high school, or similar AA or AS, Associates of Science, 2-year undergraduate degree, and master's degrees. And as we wait to see if people will join this open for conversation, open for your questions or your answers, open Q&A for World University and School in this weekly business meeting for WUAS, I'd like to share a little news with you. And indeed, regarding our recent developments and where we're heading in this WUS weekly business meeting, which is in some ways guiding the development of World University and School, WUAS Corporation, WUAS Academic Press in 7,159 known living languages with machine learning and machine translation and human translation, and the WUAS Educational Services Stores, planned in 200 countries and in their main languages, and potentially in a realistic virtual earth for retail, a physical digital realistic virtual earth as well. And as we seek to code for all 7.9 billion people on the planet, each Wikidata PIN number, and potentially to distribute Stanford MindPi cryptocurrency, free money daily, possibly to the billion poorest of those 8 billion people, to end poverty. And also, as we code for speakers of all 7,159 known living languages, to create communities and schools, wiki schools for wiki teaching and wiki learning, people to people, wiki education and learning. And out of those communities of speakers of all 7,159 known living languages, perhaps some students will matriculate at World University and School as we accredit for free online WUAS degrees. So this is best STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics, Creative Commons licensed open courseware, wiki, Grow with Google WUAS, which is a program Grow with Google has, and Grow with Google WUS is somewhat unstructured, but World University and School is growing with it in potentially fruitful ways. So World University and School, this is WUS's World University and School WUS weekly business meeting, and which I sent out last week, about 7 days ago, for the Monday, today, November 17th, 2025, weekly business meeting. So I sent them out 7 days ago for the agenda and news to season with you and to invite your feedback and your thinking in a variety of ways. Please come into conversation with World University and School on Twitter X or on LinkedIn or via email. And again, with the nonprofit 501c3 legal entity wing, worlduniversityandschool.org, and see the tax ID numbers at the bottom of that, and the for-profit general stock company legal entity in California wing, And that website address is worlduniversityandschool.org/academicpress.html, still both in beginning phases, still sharing the same root domain URL, worlduniversityandschool.org. How best to code for both wings, AI platforms, as they develop, build them out in 200 countries and in all 7,159 living languages, and potentially in WUS, seeking to code for all 7.9 billion people on the planet, each a Wikidata PIN number from here at World University, wiki.worlduniversityandschool.org/wiki/you@World University. Plan for 2 bank accounts, which we have already still, but possibly more. What do you think? And regarding developing the 501c3 GuideStar profile for World University and School on the iterating Candid GuideStar platform. GuideStar is affiliated with the IRS, Internal Revenue Service, in the US federal government. And possibly on the other wing, the academic press at WUS in 7,000 languages and the WS Educational Services stores, starting with multi-listing the WUS Corporation on many stock exchanges, but starting with one stock exchange. So 1 board or 2 boards of directors. And in seeking to use AI in the boardroom, perhaps some WUS boards for this will emerge further in communication with Stanford Law Rock Center in these regards. WUS is glad to have attended at Stanford Law Rock Center, the webinar titled Board GPT, Using AI in the Boardroom, where Edward Norton, an actor and an advisor for boards, talked with Anita Lynch initially. And Edward Norton, in a way, as an actor, shared potentially what effective board members would do and how they would act in interesting ways using AI in the boardroom, such as Board GPT. And see also the Stanford Law Rock Center set of presentations titled Corporate Law at the Crossroads, and regarding Delaware corporate law, which occurred on October 29th, 2025, from the Stanford Law Rock Center on Stanford's campus in the Stanford Law School. See the blog post beginning Small World Pagonia in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com/2025/10/small world Pagonia for more information about this. I don't think the video recording, if there was one, is available. So greetings further from Free Best Steam, CC OpenCourseWare Wiki, Grow with Google WUS, World University and School. World University and School, like Wikipedia in 342 languages and with MIT in OpenCourseWare in 7 languages, continues to grow and develop. And regarding previous versions of OpenCourseWare, such as at opencw.aprende.org, for both translated courses, they're in 6 languages there for a total of 7 languages. But I think MIT OpenCourseWare has had as many as 10 or 12 or 15 languages they've translated into from the English courses. The MIT OpenCourseWare courses in English, which number more than 2,500, both undergraduate and graduate courses. And see also the opencw.aprende.org/courses, which has about 38 MIT OpenCourseWare departments, or MIT departments, with all their OpenCourseWare in each department, from which World University and School has developed about 42 majors some years ago to emerge from this courseware, these departments at MIT OpenCourseware. So please, with an invitation to join this WUAS News and Question and Answer in person at 10 a.m. on Mondays Pacific time, which is 9 a.m. Mexico City time, 11 a.m. Mountain time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, Western Europe. I think it's about 10:30 p.m. India time and 1 a.m. Tuesday the next day Hong Kong time, and in Asian countries near Hong Kong's time zones, for example. So please check your time slider time converter from any of your 24 time zones to join this open WUS weekly business meeting and Zoom URL. So I'll post the recordings of these also. The recording of today's 11/17/2025 to our main YouTube channel for World University and School, youtube.com/Scott McLeod World University. And the agenda and news for today was posted last Monday, 11/10/2025, and begins Togiak National Wildlife Refuge, Alaska. If you're watching the video recording of this, go to those blog posts on worlduniversityandschool.blogspot.com's blog and scott-mccloud.blogspot.com's blog, and watch the video with those agenda and news in those blog posts. And for actually, last week's blog posts were actually Maroon Bell's Snowmass Wilderness in Colorado. Sorry about that, for 11/10. And that's what we're working through for today. So are these WUS weekly business meetings an innovative kind of unprogrammed friends, NTF, NTQ, Quaker monthly business meeting? Perhaps. What are the next steps for Candid GuideStar, affiliated with the IRS, encoding the 501c3 World University and School GuideStar profile? I think these next steps would, for Candid GuideStar, take into account not only World University and School being a nonprofit, a 501c3 U.S. federal legal entity, but in one way or another, take into account the WS Corporation being a for-profit general stock company legal entity in the state of California, as whatever IT platforms for that develop further regarding both the U.S. federal government, GuideStar, and also state of California in technology infrastructure. So glad to have attended last Saturday and Sunday, November 8th and 9th, the Hack for Social Impact second year hackathon in San Francisco, 2025. And there were many great social impact projects where hackers from all over the world came to San Francisco and developed hacking projects for these social impact projects, which were then judged, and some people won prizes, monetary prizes, for their AI hacking projects for these social impact projects on Saturday and Sunday, November 8th and 9th. And many of these projects involved agentic AI. For example, there were a number of answering services using Voice GPT, for example, where people could call in and interact with an organization's agentic AI within Voice to find out information about that organization. all the best, abolitionally, a best STEM, STEAM, Creative Commons licensed, open courseware, wiki, world, univ, and SCH. Hashtag WUS abolition movement is growing. Read the blog post beginning scott-mccloud.blogspot.com from July of 2025, beginning Lotus, Kamala Padma, friendly NTF, NDQ, Quaker regards, Scott GK McCloud. And the recording of today's WS Weekly Business Meeting will be posted here at youtube.com/Scott McCloud World University /videos. So agenda item 0 on the World University and School wing. So this is the first wing for World University and School, the first of 2 WES wings, the 501c3 or similar nonprofit, CC licensed best STEAM open courseware wing with its GuideStar profile. This wing also has a tax-exempt legal entity in the state of California. This wing is also the wiki wing for people-to-people wiki teaching and wiki learning. And its main website currently, in still a beginning form, is worlduniversityandschool.org. So agenda item 0, the recording for the last week's WUS news and question and answer with agenda posted on November 3rd, 2025, beginning Togiak National Wildlife Refuge, Alaska, is posted. Check it out as kind of video minutes of this weekly business meeting for World University and School, and see what you think. Further, it still has a focus on how can GuideStar code for 501c3 nonprofit world universities and at World University and School, and potentially with, secondly, California for-profit WS Corporation in mind in one way or another. Posted this to both Twitter, X, and GuideStar. Sorry, LinkedIn. Agenda item 1, how further? Hack further best STEAM, Creative Commons, open courseware, wiki, World University and School, the WS Corporation, or particularly the first wing, the nonprofit 501c3 World University and School wing. Next year in 2026, possibly in November, in the 3rd year of the Hack for Social Impact Hackathon. Glad to have received an invitation for this 2nd year of Hack for Social Impact 2025 Hackathon in San Francisco. Announcement of or invitation from or Stanford Law Codex Group mail list from Marzia Nabi and Roland Vogel. And in these regards, was curious from the beginning how World University and School might develop with this hackathon in the future, which I emailed the organizers of this event prior to November 8th and November 9th. And regarding nation states, for World University and School, 200 online major universities, and in each of these languages of the countries, potentially more than the 200 main languages, but beginning perhaps with the 200 main languages in all of these countries. And with Wikidata as their backend structured database. So these World University and School nation states wiki subject page and languages wiki subject page from which major online universities will emerge, and languages in these languages for potentially all 7,100 languages will emerge, has Wikidata as their backend structured knowledge database from which AI and machine learning can develop and grow. using this Wikidata structured ontology for knowledge in new ways with machine learning and AI. So see also this blog post for a bit about how Wikidata works, beginning Alaska Blackfish, Dahlia pectoralis, in November 2025 in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. So agenda item 2. World University and School would like to grow further, keeping in mind Peter Norvig's incredible Tulify AI WUAS article, Revolutionizing Education with Machine Learning and AI, World University in School, updated March 2nd, 2024, which mentions a realistic virtual Earth for the first time, other than World University and School mentioning it or talking about it for some years now. So where will an iterating realistic virtual Earth, hashtag for everything, and per the Tulify AI WS revolutionizing education with machine learning and AI head, can we develop such a realistic virtual Earth in revolutionizing education with machine learning and AI? For aging reversal, that's a hashtag. Hashtag for extreme longevity. Hashtag genetic drug therapies. And regarding the G cellular view and the G molecular view in conceptually G street view with time slider. And for genetic data, where will such genetic data go? How will we develop these vast libraries of genetic data for potentially all 7.9 billion people for aging reversal and extreme longevity, for example, genetic drug therapies? Will it go into Google data centers in many different states in the US and in many different countries? That seems, will World University and School be able to build out data centers with time? And this set of Twitter posts and LinkedIn posts retweets Sundar Pichai's Twitter post, title, which says, we're continuing to invest in data centers across the country with 1 billion plus for our Texas cloud and data center infrastructure. This investment will help meet growing demand for AI, cloud, and other digital services. So further, and having met Chung Shen and Moya Fung at Hack4 Social Impact Hackathon in San Francisco on November 8th and 9th, 2025, where Chung Shen works at Apple on languages, and Moira Fung works at Lightmatter in Boston on photonics chips. Both are from China. How could China World University and School grow best? Possibly with them taking the lead for free online degrees for Chinese speakers in China, all 1.4 billion people from their homes, and planned in Mandarin from the World University and School Mandarin language Chinese page at China World University and School, and in other languages in China, and with much in a realistic virtual Earth for everything, a virtual China, and not only at the street view with time slider levels, but also at the cell view level, the molecular view level, and the atom view level. Will we be able to design new kinds of chips, semiconductors, sensors in such a realistic virtual Earth with Sketchfab from Google, scaled to the atomic level, and building on all the other modeling of chips out there? by made by major companies, for example, but also made by modeling developed in universities also, and potentially with World University and School. Also met at the Hack for Social Impact Hackathon, um, Todd Schaefer, who is working for Global Gaia as the CEO, and regarding Malawi, Africa, mobile clinics, and World University and School is very interested in potentially developing our medical schools in even the back of Toyota ambulance vans, so mobile medical schools, mobile hospitals, and in all languages in Malawi, Africa, and for online free medical degrees too for Malawians, and brainstorming, possibly in vehicles bigger than a Toyota ambulance van, such as large buses, and even with Toyota humanoid robot MD professors of surgery and the 23 other subspecialties in medicine by one count. So robotic professors of medicine, MD robot professors of medicine in all 24 specialties as teachers, possibly in Malawi, at World University and School, and possibly in medical schools in large buses that emerge also in a realistic virtual earth for medicine, a realistic virtual earth for surgery, such that humans will be part of this as well as the professors of MD professors of medicine develop and iterate that are humanoid robots. Could such MD professors of surgery, humanoid robots, even start first with C-sections, for example, more than possibly injections with needles, which in one very simple definition of surgery, injections of needles can be considered a form of surgery. C-sections would be a fascinating further step for developing, iterating humanoid robot MD professors of surgery. So met also a number of people from Pakistan at this Hack for Social Impact hackathon in San Francisco on 11, 8, and 9, 2025. How best in emails to many Pakistani hackers who had come to this hackathon, how best to develop Pakistan World University and School, and potentially in the Pashto language, but also in Urdu and Punjabi, other languages there too. And from the Languages Wiki subject page at World University and School for online free degrees, and particularly to Pashto speakers emerging from MIT OpenCourseWare. Saad Inan, I think, was the Pakistan hacker who spoke Pashto, and on Wiki Schools for Open, as Wiki Schools for Open Teaching and Learning in Pashto language in Pakistan World University and School too. How to preserve all the languages of Pakistan, and Pakistan has a lot of other languages. In this time of information technology spreading around the world, where there's an opportunity to plan for even de-extincting languages, but also growing the smallest languages among all 7,159 known living languages, and potentially growing communities of speakers with information technologies, if we can plan for it, and at World University and School, which we seek to do, potentially in Pakistan. Also met a Russian speaker at World University and School at the Hack for Social Impact, and how best to develop Russia World University and School in Russian, and potentially in seeking to reach rural populations with these online free degrees at World University and School, and also both for Pakistan and Russia and Malawi to end poverty, potentially with Stanford MindPy cryptocurrency, which World University and School seeks to distribute to most of all 7.9 billion people. And so in rural parts of Russia, rural parts of Pakistan, rural parts of Malawi, especially, these are interesting learning opportunities for Russian speakers, for Pashto speakers, about even their countries as World University and School seeks to grow um, uh, these free online educational opportunities and even to end poverty in parts of Russia, parts of Pakistan, parts of Malawi, for example. Malawi is one of the poorest countries in the world, I think. So similarly, in Syria, met a Googler who was, I think, from America, but had spent much time in Syria, and great to meet him. And regarding potentially not only an Arabic language World University and School in Syria, World University and School, but potentially with Google and with WUAS in a Grow with Google WS program to develop further in all Arabic language countries where Arabic is the official language. And there are approximately 21 out of 200 countries with Arabic language as their official languages. How best to develop Syria World University and School with this Googler. First, possibly with in the Arabic language, and possibly with Google in Syria. I shared with many folks I met at the Hack for Social Impact Hackathon, the Hacking Wiki subject page or school at WUS, and there are a number of courses from MIT OpenCourseWare. The World University and School Wiki subject page is hacking computers certified ethical wiki.worlduniversityandschool.org/wiki/hacking computers certified ethical. Hacking's been a major way that the information technology revolution has developed. More about that also in my upcoming book, Society, Information Technology, and the Global University. Also met someone from the Philippines who was at this Hack for Social Impact hackathon, and planning to develop in Tagalog and other languages there at Philippines World University and School for free online degrees, building from ocw.mit.edu from home in all languages there potentially, where Philippines World University and School will emerge from the nation states wiki subject page as a major online research university from World University and School. Also met a number of people from India, and regarding India World University and School, planned in all 22 scheduled languages in India, and early on potentially in the Gujarati language in India. The Gujarati language wiki subject page is already begun, but it's not yet in the Gujarati language. And potentially also for all 424 languages in India, by one count, the Ethnologue in 2024, 424 languages in India as wiki schools for open people to people wiki teaching and wiki learning, possibly, if helpful, for even online free degrees for speakers of these 424 languages. And looking forward to keeping in touch also and regarding potentially WUAS law school students in the future, interning at the Innocence Center with WUS law schools planned in all 50 US states and all 200 countries. And here's regarding the Innocence Center, Jasmine Harris was the representative from San Diego who was sharing about the Innocence Center. Here's the very beginning social justice wiki subject at WUAS. It's Peace and Social Justice Studies, wiki.worlduniversityandschool.org/wiki/peace and social justice. And not yet with much MIT OpenCourseware, eventually for WUAS credit from the wiki subjects page at World University and School. And not yet in all 50 US states. So there's an Iowa Law School, a very beginning Iowa Law School at World University and School. California Law School at World University and School is not yet begun. And how also further to develop Scotland World University and School. Jasmine Harris might have some Scottish background. And regarding potentially in the Scottish Gaelic language and the Scots language, as well as English for free online WUS degrees. And also with planned online WUS law schools from wiki.worlduniversityandschool.org/wiki/Scotland. So here are the beginning law schools in about 9 countries out of 200 countries at World University and School, planned in main languages in them. Afghanistan Law School at WUS, Brazil Law School at WUS, China Law School at WUS, Egypt Law School at WUS, India Law School at WUS, Jamaica Law School at WUS, Mexico Law School at WUS, and the World University and School Law School, which in a sense is for out of the USA, but has links to the others above, other law schools above at the links section of World University and School Law School, and the beginning Iowa Law School at WUS. So great to talk with all of these folks, also with someone from Indonesia and regarding developing Indonesia World University and School, which Indonesia World University and School is already begun in a beginning way, but it is not yet in Indonesian, but the Malay Indonesian language wiki school is begun, accessible through Languages World University and School, and could World University and School develop all these countries, universities, next year in November 2026, potentially with these same people from this Hack for Social Impact hackathon, and such that they could develop universities in their own countries, in their own languages, that would build on MIT OpenCourseware for free degrees, and they could potentially become the heads of them, the presidents of them, possibly. So moving on to agenda item 3, Wikidata and WUAS further. World University and School is seeking to develop, to distribute Stanford MindPi cryptocurrency free money daily. And you can get your own Stanford MindPi free money daily from this URL with this invitation code, mindpi.com/SGKMAC. Seeking to develop this, to distribute this to most of all 7.9 billion people on the planet from you at World University and School, Wikidata as Wikidata pin numbers. Someone named Stephen Harrison, who's written a book about Wikipedia editors, published in 2024. Stephen Harrison reached out to me in LinkedIn and said he would like to send me his book, The Editors, regarding, I think, Wikipedia culture also. Stephen and Lydia Pincher is the project manager, head of Wikidata in Berlin, Germany. How could we develop code for all 7.9 billion people on the planet, each a Wikidata pin number from you at World University, and to end worldwide poverty, as well as to create universal free education, wiki people to people, for speakers of all 7,159 known living languages, where Wikipedia and Wikidata are in, again, roughly 342 languages out of the 7,159 known living languages. Could World University and School work with these Wikipedia communities on our wiki side to develop potentially the possibility to end poverty in these for speakers among speakers of these 342 languages that Wikipedia has active communities with. So Stephen Harrison, who wrote this novel, The Editors, and I think is a Wikidata, Wikipedia, um, uh, in a way, authority on Wikipedia culture, or an interpreter, or possibly an apologist, um, also is in communication with the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas. And how could World University and School, in seeking to code for all 7.9 billion people and to distribute Stanford Mind Pi cryptocurrency, free money daily, to most of these, work with possibly the Federal Reserve banking system of the US? Could World University and School communicate further with Stephen B. Harrison in these regards? I think Stephen is writing another book about possibly the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas uh, upcoming. So, Stephen, thanks for connecting on LinkedIn. I found your articles about Wikidata and your interview of Lydia Pincher, whom I know a little from San Francisco some years ago when we went out to a dinner with about 14 Wikidata Wikipedians downtown, and with WUAS having Wikidata as given Wikidata a birthday cake. And you can see a picture of the birthday cake here in the Wikidata link that I've added to this agenda and news. And in the blog post in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com, beginning Cocoa Bean Wikidata birthday party from 2016 in October. Jermaine, how could, so I found your article, Stephen, about Wikidata, germane to best STEAM CC OpenCourseware World University and School and the WUS Corporation, as we seek to code for all the people on the planet, and in each of all 200 countries, and for speakers of 7,159 known living languages. How best to communicate about this further, potentially with the Federal Reserve banking system in the US, possibly out of Dallas? So Wikidata was launched in 2012, and it's a free multilingual database that turns data points into structured data, dates, places, relationships, coordinates, making them both human readable and machine readable. Instead of long paragraphs, Wikidata stores knowledge as statements, each one verifiable and reusable across projects. If you have worked with Wikidata, please let me know in some of these regards at this Hack for Social Impact hackathon. I met Tom Aldrich, who had gone to Reed College, as I had gone to Reed College, and I think has a PhD from Cal in the philosophy of science. And he's worked with Miraheza MediaWiki, which is World University and School's front end wiki software, which has about 800 pages from at World University and School, all in English so far. Perhaps in the hackathon next year at Hack for Social Impact, World University and School can develop further our WS Miraheza MediaWiki as a front end with our with Wikidata as a back end, and possibly with some of the coders at this hackathon. So One of the articles Stephen Harrison wrote about Wikidata was titled How Wikidata is Coding for Humanity, where he interviews Lydia Pincher. And World University and School, in many ways, is coding for humanity too, in seeking to code for all 7.9 billion people on the planet. Glad to be further in communication with you, Stephen Harrison, and potentially with Lydia Pincher as well in some of these regards. Agenda item 4, live update. Regarding the Supreme Court hearing a case challenging Trump's tariff authority. The president used the 1977 emergency law to impose tariffs on goods from over 100 countries. The case is pivotal to his agenda, which is a New York Times article. And World University and School is seeking to grow a realistic virtual Earth for each country. So a virtual India, a virtual China, a virtual Japan, a virtual America, and potentially for economics. Again, think Google Street View with TimeSlider, Google Maps, potentially also for cryptocurrency, and with avatar bots or avatar agents emerging from Google Street View's Pegman, which might be buying and spending cryptocurrency, such as Stanford MindPy, informing the economics of such a realistic virtual Earth. How could such a realistic virtual Earth for each country, for economics, see again Peter Norvig's incredible article, Revolutionizing Education with Machine Learning and AI, World University in School. How could such a realistic virtual Earth for each country, for economics at World University in School help elucidate the legal issues, such that the Supreme Court, for example, could enter this, all 9 members could enter this realistic virtual Earth, which would also be coded with TensorFlow AI and Gemini AI, and regarding legal issues, regarding the Trump tariffs to penalize countries seeking to trade with the U.S. And with his calling forth of a 1977 emergency law to impose tariffs on goods from over 100 countries. Stay tuned. World University and School seeks to build out this realistic virtual Earth for economics in some of these regards for legal issues in the future. Agenda item 5. How can Pi cryptocurrency be developed to end poverty among all 7.9 billion people on the planet? I asked Gemini AI, and it gave a very helpful response. Pi Crypto could theoretically help end poverty by enabling financial inclusion for the unbanked through its mobile-based mining, creating a decentralized ecosystem for transactions, and using its large user base to foster a new peer-to-peer economy. However, ending poverty is an extremely complex issue that Pi Crypto cannot solve on its own. Its success would rely heavily on factors like widespread Pi adoption, significant long-term price appreciation, the creation of a stable ecosystem, and integration with real-world goods and services, while also needing to address challenges like the digital divide and lack of infrastructure in many impoverished areas. So potential benefits of Pi Network for poverty alleviation are financial inclusion and a decentralized economy and a broad user base and inclusivity or in distribution. More about this as World University and School seeks to code out Stanford MindPy cryptocurrency with Wikidata as we seek to code for most of all 7.9 billion people on the planet and distribute Pi to all. Further, Gemini AI says a strategy to help the poorest billion people could involve World University and School, combining educational opportunities with the distribution of Pi cryptocurrency. WUS could use its Coding for All initiative to build utility for the Pi token, which could then be distributed as universal basic income or microloans, while educational programs address skills gaps and financial literacy needed for successful adoption. Much more information is available on the wiki.worlduniversityandschool.org website. Read further this very helpful Google Gemini AI response in the blog post beginning Gospel Hump Wilderness, Nez Perce, in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com in November of 2025. Agenda item 7, Agentic AI, a Zoom webinar, Zoom video conferencing, which this video recording today on this video conferencing opportunity for this WUS weekly business meeting, news and question and answer, is occurring in Zoom. Zoom webinar, Thursday, 11/6/2025. I found very fascinating the potentials the Zoom team was sharing, and asked a number of questions about how to develop best further World University and School with this Zoom video conferencing, these Zoom video conferencing with AI developments. Agentic AI was very prominent in their presentations, and World University and School would like to develop further with this, potentially with professors, possibly from MIT OpenCourseWare videos, becoming Agentic AI with the CC4 licensing. I wrote to them, one thing I found remarkable about teaching and learning, and this is further, in 3D virtual worlds, beginning even in around 2006 or 2007, on Harvard's virtual island of Second Life, and just as voice was being added to Second Life, this 3D group buildable world, virtual world, was the potential for two channels of communication in the learning conversation, voice and text chat, where the open text chat during office hours. So this was typed text chat initially. In Cyber One, law, the court in the law in the court of public opinion, which was taught by Harvard law professor Charlie Nesson, and his daughter Becca Nesson and Jean Koo were the two teaching assistants, which I was in. I found the voice and text chat possibilities where students, such as myself, could engage and generate a conversation in the text chat, a remarkable opportunity, leading even to a text document, which could become a literary document, scholarly as well. So these two channels of text and voice open the opportunity to expand the educational conversation that was emerging around serious topics in office hours in brand new ways. A fascinating emergence from a 3D virtual world that is further probably developing with agentic AI these days. And even as World University and School seeks to develop a realistic virtual Earth and think Google Street View with Time Slider, potentially with Little Pegman becoming avatar agents and agentic AI of you and I, as we possibly develop classrooms and STEM field sites in Google Street View with Time Slider, with parallels to this 3D group buildable virtual Earth of Second Life, and for further multi-channels for an educational conversation in courses in new ways. So It was also particularly the office hours facilitated by Becca Nesson in Charles Nesson's class Cyber One Law in the Court of Public Opinion with Rebecca Nesson and Jean Koo in Second Life in 2006, as well as the class itself prior to the introduction of voice in SL, where the potential for flow experiences, i.e. absorbed mind, and regarding Csikszentmihalyi's book, Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience, what enjoyment is per his psychological studies, in group chat emerged for me. And it was during this course's office hours in group chat that I experienced new possibilities for the exchange of ideas among people. So it wasn't just a teacher lecturing, but students could engage in conversation in the process. Further, I wonder how in Zoom video conferencing, we could, and with agentic AI, we could potentially develop a Reed College humanities required first year course, conversation emerging from also the Socratic dialogue at World University and School as a required course at World University and School for first year students for a bachelor or possibly an AS degree that would involve reading, for example, Hume 110 texts from Reed College's first year Hume 110 course, and in new ways with agentic AI, developing this course such that it would be a fascinating conversational opportunity for first year World University and School students about, in a way, teaching critical thinking, the emergence of science, the emergence of drama, literature, history, and philosophy, poetry as well, in writing in the ancient Greek world. So how brainstorming further these ways of students talking, sharing ideas, developing a co-conversation in a classroom or office hours, and with now agentic AI as a form of student learning and giving students agency in group learning conversations regarding the conference method at Reed College 2, and search on for the Humanities Wiki subject page at World University and School and search on conference method. And see too also the Reed College Humanities syllabus for Hume 110 from 2012, and how to develop the WUS Hume 101 course with agentic AI, and in all 200 countries, main languages, and building on Reed's required first year Hume 110 course. Also, regarding this wiki subject, at Free World University and School, assessment and grading at WUS as part of a conversation and learning. How could agentic AI help with this as well in such conference method courses? At Reed College, the conference method, which one learns in many ways in Hume 110 as a required first year course, can then be or is then applied to potentially all or many of the courses that one takes in the subsequent 4 years for a Reed College bachelor's degree as a liberal arts education with distribution requirements across sciences, humanities, languages, social sciences, and similar. So could we build this out with Wikidata as a backend structured knowledge database, this agentic AI, for such a course as a required Hume 101 course at World University and School? Stay tuned. So the agentic AI that Zoom EDUCAUSE was focusing on included where agentic AI was doing 4 things: reasoning, it had memory, it makes decisions with other AIs, And it orchestrated various processes of agentic AI. World University and School would seek to develop further with these in developing our courses in some of these regards. And see more in the blog post from 11 or November 2025 in scott-mccloud.blogspot.com's blog titled Flammulated Owl for reading about some of this. Agenda item 8. Humanoid robot yoga teachers, which could go into homes to teach yoga and be there physically to prevent falling and injuries too, and as aging reversal and extreme longevity genetic drug therapies emerge potentially, FDA approved. With someone who is falling a lot in her mid-80s and remote, how to develop humanoid robot yoga teachers who could go into homes to teach yoga and be there physically to prevent falling and injuries too. For example, for living in a fit body, even to as long as 150 years of age with longevity genetic drugs. And how could yoga help? See the Yoga Wiki School at World University and School in some of these regards. So further, Agenda 8A, what is the philosophy of Patanjali's eight-limb yoga and as a scientific research philosophy? And what is the philosophy of science? I'm interested here in these questions in bringing the Western philosophy of science, epistemology in some ways, what it is, together with the philosophy of Patanjali's eight-limb yoga as a kind of scientific research philosophy. And I asked Gemini AI these questions. For example, what is the philosophy of science? And what is the philosophy of Patanjali's eight-limb yoga? And how to interoperate these both in terms of science and yoga experimentation further, and also in helping people with healing practices. And Gemini gave me, once again, incredible reply, Philosophy of Science and Yoga Healing. Check it out, read it. It's in the blog post beginning Gospel Hump Wilderness Nez Perce, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com in November of 2025. Agenda item 9. A World University and Schools Plan WUS Universal Translator in 7K languages. How best to translate a Twitter audio live stream with, or a Twitter X video live stream on a smartphone laptop from India, or a smartphone or laptop from India, and from Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So I recently received a talk from Narendra Modi on Twitter, a broadcast, and I couldn't, it was in Hindi and there was no translation opportunity. Could World University and School further with our universal translator planning to interoperate with platforms such as Twitter X have helped? How could World University and School do this further? Such translation with the Twitter X platform, for example, of Narendra Modi broadcasting in Hindi, and with our WUS Universal Translator wiki page at wiki.worlduniversityandschool/wiki WUS Universal Translator with time. Check out his broadcast, and you can see it further in the blog post beginning Jasmine Charnek Flower, Chameli Flower, Jasmine Chameli Flower in 11/20/25 blog post in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. Agenda item 10. World University and Schools worldwide abolition movement to protect people from modern slavery is growing. I'm continuing to grow with WUS and seeking to code for all 7.9 billion people a worldwide abolition movement to protect people and as potentially World University and School seeks to end poverty as well by distributing Stanford MindPi cryptocurrency to most of these. So seeking to grow a worldwide abolition movement to protect people from a kind of modern slavery even. Have blogged about this a fair amount. For example, in March of 2024, and regarding Chase Bank branch, JP Morgan Chase Bank branch in the Shadyside community in Pittsburgh, and with an email to Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan Chase Bank, and Peter Norvig, head of Google AI, where the murder word was spoken to me in Chase Bank Shadyside in, I think, April or March of 2024, and potentially with Chase Bank having operations in 100 out of 200 countries, in what ways were they involved potentially in the wrongful buying and selling of people in some of these 200 countries, so involved in international organized crime, and as World University and School grows this abolition movement and seeking to protect people, have been writing about this a fair amount, and potentially abolition movement is growing with law and law enforcement, U.S. federal, states law, potentially international law, and uniformed armed services law working together potentially effectively in new ways. Agenda item 11. A UC Berkeley master's degree student, Drace or Drache Bar from Liberia and Africa, doing a master's in development practice at Cal. How best to grow Liberia World University and School, in Africa World University and School, and for free online WUS degrees from home. Glad to have met him on September 1st, 2025, and interesting to learn that you studied at the University of Liberia. How best could MIT OpenCourseware Centric Wiki World University and Liberia World University and School help, or best STEM Wiki World University and School with OpenCourseware from greatest universities help as we develop this with AI and ML. Agenda item 12. How best to grow PhDs, degrees at World University and School. Senator Elizabeth Warren in many countries, including in European countries, and for example, in Luxembourg. I created a set of Twitter posts about this regarding a Harvard College Crimson article where the title was PhD Cuts Are the Beginning of the End for Academia, and where Harvard is cutting back on the PhDs they offer. How could World University and Schools emerging PhD degree programs help in some ways with growing the number of PhDs that people get in all 200 countries? Luxembourg, the country in Western Europe, is inviting applications for vacant PhD positions. How could World University and School potentially grow in Luxembourg World University and School in some of these regards too? So further, agenda item 13. One of the things that Lydia Pincher, the Wikidata project manager in 2000, since the beginning, I think, of Wikidata in around 2012 or 2013, suggested in 2021 regarding World University and School and Wiki data for us to write a detailed proposal as a set of instructions. And we did, World University and School did, and Lydia Pincher is someone who helps to make the awesome happen. And in potentially writing these detailed set of instructions that in way that World University and School would seek to grow with Wikidata, Wikidata potentially is becoming further incrementally our main backend structured knowledge database, and growing as a consequence. Thank you, Lydia Pincher, and so glad Wikidata is World University and School's backend structured knowledge database. I see the incremental changes that occur on the WUS Mira Hazen Media wiki page, which I think are interoperating with Wikidata structured knowledge database for World University and School as a backend structured knowledge database. Agenda item 14, regarding RIFI at Freedom College in Sri Lanka. Great to hear from you, and thanks for the 2 mini courses now that you created. Still learning about WS Mira Hazen Media Wiki myself, our front end Media Wiki software. But so glad that RIFI was able to create a second course on the Information Technology Revolution, History and Geography, which is a course that an hour-long talk I gave, and he was able to turn it into a course and add it to Mira Hazen Media Wiki, after also creating a first mini course on an introduction to computer science and with Python as a focus, and adding this to his website, and was able to link this also at World University and School. So I explained further how he could do this potentially, and glad that we have these new emerging World University and School mini courses happening. Agenda item 15. This is a brainstorming post about further WUS dental mobile clinics for WUS dentistry, and with even humanoid robot dentists at WUS, and even in the back of Toyota ambulance vans, and as WUS seeks to develop mobile WUS dental schools, and even in and from realistic virtual Earth for dentistry. And see the PS below regarding Twitter, X, and LinkedIn in all 200 countries, and for speakers of all 7,159 known living languages. So moving to the second wing of WUS, the second of 2 WUS wings, the for-profit general stock company legal entity in the state of California, the WS Corporation WUS Press, planned in 7,159 known living languages with machine and human translation. The beginning webpage for that is worlduniversityandschool.org/academicpress.html. How best to develop further our bookstore, computer store, our WUS educational service stores, our robotics stores, and think Walmart in 19 out of 200 countries, where the WS Corporation seeks to develop also in the remaining 181 countries in a realistic virtual Earth for retail, and potentially for everything as well. So also for evolutionary biology, for genetics, for aging reversal, for extreme longevity. Hack further, best Steam CC OpenCourseWare with World University and Schools WS Corporation in the 3rd year of the Hack for Social Impact in 2026, and potentially with Stanford MindPy cryptocurrency, Free Money Daily, with a bit about how this works regarding WUS, and Peter Norvig in a LinkedIn post. Check it out. So it's also in the blog post beginning Mulaney Massive in November of 2025 in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. Agenda item 8, How might World University and School in a Grow with Google WUS program and the WS Corporation help Chase Bank and with Stanford MindPy and seeking to code for most of all 7.9 billion people on the planet at World University to grow a related abolition movement? And this is a continuing set of questions to Chase Bank as World University and School seeks to develop potentially with Stanford MindPy cryptocurrency to end poverty. How will such coding also help potentially protect people from even organized crime and possibly out of Chase Bank in some of these regards? Read more about this in this letter. So lastly, how might World University and School, and this is thanks to an email from the Contra Costa County Libraries, begin the WUS Academic Press and WUS Educational Services stores, and potentially to supply the Contra Costa County Libraries, and possibly all 58 counties in California with books and even Lego robotics kits. Thanks to Byron Hahn. Regarding a related question I asked in a previous WS weekly business meeting, could the Contra Costa Library, the Moraga Public Library, become a buyer of Lego robotics kits from the emerging WS Educational Services stores, and thus help to develop World University and School in the educational services stores, possibly by all 58 counties, library systems buying from and helping to create the WS Educational Services stores so as to make Lego robotics, Spike Prime robotics kits available in public libraries and potentially for as part of WUS free online degrees from home. Check out the Contra Costa Librarians message for November of 2025, where Baker and Taylor, one of the nation's largest and longest serving book and media wholesalers for libraries, recently announced the unexpected closure of its business. So she or he went on to say, I want to share what this means for the library and assure you that our team is already working to minimize any disruption to your service. Baker and Taylor has served the library community for nearly 200 years, and we are one of the many libraries nationwide that have relied on them for the decades. Abruptness of this closure presents a significant challenge across the industry. Fortunately, we have begun diversifying our wholesale vendors over the past year and are well positioned to resume receiving materials more quickly than many other library systems impacted by this change. So could World University and School, WUS Educational Services stores, come to fill this role that Baker Taylor leaves open by creating both wholesale and retail opportunities that possibly libraries, public libraries in Contra Costa County and in all 57 other counties in California might then benefit from? An interesting new possibility for World University and School and the WUS Educational Services stores. So that's the news and question and answer for today, Monday, November 12th, 2025, for World University and School and the WS Corporation. I'll post the recording of this to both main Twitter X feeds, Twitter, x.com/WORLDUNIVANDSCH, and twitter.com/WUAS Press. I'll post also this to the two main blog posts for today, which are begin with Arches National Park for Utah. And I'll also post this to LinkedIn for World University and Schools feeds for there. Until next week, Monday, 11/20/24, 11/24/2025, sorry. If you have questions or know of prospective students who are interested in World University and Schools free online degrees as we build on MIT OpenCourseware in 7 languages, please let me know at president@World University and School. And until next week, see you online. Bye for now.